This is episode 45 of the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. In this episode, JK doesn't let me go to sleep, even though it's past midnight, and we stay up and have a discussion about Glasgow. So, really hope you guys enjoy our talk here. He does have a little bit of internet problems as he's not on a stable internet, so you might hear it break up a little. Please bear with it. But let's listen to JK discuss how his Glasgow race went. Let's make hybrid fitness work for you.
It's rolling.
And here we go. Very excited for this. JK and I just jumped on. It is the morning after for JK, and it is still the same day, 12 hours after for me. It's actually been 12 hours and 13 minutes since your race started, JK. Did you know that?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're putting this out as a special.
Like forever ago now.
Yeah. We're going to put this out as a short special episode because I don't know if JK knows this. I plan on doing another episode this week for you guys, but there's so much going on. We've gotten a lot of questions and everything as well. JK texted me that he woke up this morning. I had just put Lily down to bed. It's almost midnight here, and said, hey, you want to jump on and do a quick 30-minute-er? And I was like, let's do it. So we will answer questions next week. But for now, we got this episode, which I believe is number 45. Did you listen to the last one? I got Lauren on last time. I got Lauren on last week when you weren't available. No. So her and I got to talk. It was good.
Yeah, awesome.
So this, I believe, did I just say this? I think it's episode 45. We should be able to put one out today, and then also
45.
Also, maybe like this weekend, might have another episode before we get back on schedule next week. But this weekend is the Elite 15 doubles in Houston. JK is going to be flying over from Glasgow, where he just raced, and he will be competing with Jake Dearden, who also just raced and earned his world championship qualifying spot. They will be competing in Houston alongside me and my partner, Mark Dofer, as well as Lauren Weeks, my wife, with another athlete I coach, Lauren Griffith, and then who are both also world qualifiers. And then we have, who else is doing it? Is Jess Petro coming back? Is she going to do it too?
Hey, Anthony, sorry, it's cracking up like a lot, and I'm not sure if it's my end or your end. Am I going in and out?
No, you're good. I got a notification that said my internet was unstable, but it didn't change. Right, you were still on video. So
yeah, it's like you're like cracking up, and I can't really understand what you're like. I'm getting bits of what you're saying. I wonder if it's do you think it's my internet or your internet?
I don't know. I could always wave it here, chop it off, see what it sounds like, and then we could jump back on if it sounds okay.
Yeah, well, let's keep rolling and just see if it picks up.
Okay. If it gets bad,
out here a little bit.
If it gets bad, let me know. Hopefully it's recording everything and we'll be good. Anyway, yeah, we'll get to the Elite 15 or the Elite 15 doubles because we'll talk about that.
Give me 1 second
when I accost you and tell you that you're going to record with me after your race. But there's a lot of things I want to go over. While you're moving, you can, I'll just talk here for a minute. Uh, Great race from JK. Fantastic job. JK wins a major. I don't know if you guys know, I am like extremely polarized in emotion right now. I have been all day because on one end, I am over the moon. I'm ecstatic. Like Lauren, my wife, absolutely superb, amazing. A minute 40 off her world record. Brought the world record down to 56:22. Just absolutely stunning. And then Vivian gets her qualifier as well, taking third place, becoming the fourth woman to ever break 60. JK gets a win. JK gets a win and a PR. And I believe I looked it up where you 0.7 seconds, so 7/10 of a second off the world record is what I think it was, right?
Right.
JK?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bo Wills ends up fourth place. Great race from him as well. Um, and those are all the super positive ends. On the other end of that, athletes I coach feel, gutted for Maria and Zara. Zara missing out on the last chance on the last qualifying spot in this major. She's been in all four majors. She's done great in all four majors, coming in sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth now, and the four different majors.
Mm.
Um, but she just missed it. She's been the next person up or the second next person up in like almost all of these. She ends up not getting her spot, and then Maria also had a tough day, and then Kate. Geez, man, Kate would have done so well. I really think she would have done super well, especially on this in this race and the setup and everything. I just feel gutted for her. She ends up rolling her ankle. We don't know how bad yet. She'll go to the doctor today, and I'll get some information on that. So really, heart goes out to Kate. Hope she gets better. She will be better, and she'll come back for Chicago and be ready.
Yeah, like Anthony, it's funny you talk about like you're in this state of like let's just say like polarized emotions, as you said. This is a coaching podcast, and of course, we're both coaches. Obviously, we're both athletes as well, and you know, the emotions that go into what we're trying to do and what we do is just crazy. Like, and if you're listening to this and you've done a HYROX and you train for HYROX and there's so many highs, there's so many lows as well. And the beauty of the sport is that you've got to ride those waves, right? It's not as if it's going to be all sunshines and roses. And I've learned that myself as well. And like from my end, I'm just going to say, as a coach, I was very overwhelmed with excitement and joy and pride last night when one of my athletes, Jess Petro, ended up getting a qualifying spot. And she has come a long way and also definitely proved herself that she's a force to be reckoned with now, and I'm proud about that. But yeah, just on this, Anthony, like I understand what you mean there by the polarized emotions, because and for the listeners, like what Anthony's not Anthony's talking the truth there. Like I know him. He is so bought into not just my um, journey, but all of the athletes that he just listed off, and personally as well. So, um, look, I feel for you right now, Anthony, but also I feel for the athletes that you just listed out. But the thing is, like, this sport is all about resilience, and I guarantee the likes of Zara, Maria, even Kate Davey with what happened last night, they're going to be as resilient as ever to bounce back.
Yeah. Uh, I know. And it's just, it's really hard to see these. And I'll just speak. This is like you said, this is a coaching podcast, right? And so, as a coach, how do you feel? Like we are a team, but this is still an individual sport. Uh, and so I come actually from that background in wrestling, right? Like it's an individual sport, but you still have a team. But at least in wrestling, we're not directly competing against most of your teammates because you're a different weight class. Well, here you guys are all directly competing against each other, so it's really hard. Like I am just, obviously the best thing for me, I was just hoping like the three qualifying spots go to Vivian, Zara, and Maria, and I don't have to think about it, and everything's sunshine and roses, right? Um, well, I mean, obviously that was a pipe dream, and it didn't happen. So we look at the race as it is now, and you know, I'm thrilled for Vivian, and then gutted for Zara and Maria. But at the same time, it's like,
Mm.
okay, we can't like sit here and say, oh, what was me? This was too bad. We're gonna look at the race, see where we could have improved. Like these are the best of the best women, right? If you want to, in men, if you want to compete against them, if you want to make world championships, you have to be able to beat them to like
Yeah,
compete, because these are the people you're going to be seeing there. So now you have one more shot to get a top three at the last chance qualifier. I actually think it lines up kind of better for them. Not necessarily like the travel and where it's at in the season, but in terms of grid race versus pro race,
mm.
I think
Mm.
that's just the layout is good for the style of racers they are. So yeah, we're gonna take this race. We're gonna see
Yeah,
what good came out of it. Like what did we see? And then, hey, we have 6 weeks. What do we got to work on? What do we do in the next six
definitely.
weeks? You know?
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm excited for it because I kind of figured I was gonna have at least one athlete because you can't get so lucky, but didn't know who end up going to the LCQ, and it's I got two now.
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
and it's just continuation.
Um,
And at the same time, you think of that, but at the same time, like I'm still just for other coaches out there, you have your athletes that do great. You have your athletes that are so close. Like I've been an athlete in my life and I've literally been in every single stage of where all these athletes have placed so far. Right. Right.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I've had my a rough race. I've had races. I have had wrestling where like I was it my sophomore year, my freshman year of high school. I came up one position short of qualifying to the next stage, right? So and that's so difficult to
mm.
go through. And then you have those years and those times where like you're podiuming and you're winning some races, and then like I've never experienced, like Lauren where I win multiple years in a row, but um that's
Yeah,
it's still like you're at the stage of each one of these people, and so you kind of know the emotion and the toll it goes through as a coach.
definitely, definitely. Yeah,
Um
absolutely, man.
Now on the other side of that, I just want to say, JK, we're here, we're going to talk about your race. You are the first male to win two majors in the same season.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's the first
Um,
time, like in last season, there was a different winner for every major. This year, there's Alex, you, Dylan, you, the first one to win two. It wasn't easy either.
yeah, wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. And just quickly on that, like what I'm proud about. more than actually my race last night is the last 4, 5 weeks of the preparation for this race. Without going into too much detail, but Anthony and I had to work really hard on getting my body right. Um, there was a lot of um, um, what's the right word to use here, Anthony? Like, my body wasn't feeling the way it normally feels. Full stop. Period. And we had to change a little bit. We had to be very proactive about that, and that's what I'm proud about.
Yeah. There was a lot of like midweek changes we made. We had a couple things where like we reevaluated what you were running your paces at for some things. We switched which days were lifts. Like literally one of the things was,
Yeah,
okay, these lifts like tax your central nervous system more, so we're gonna put them at the end of the week instead of the beginning of the week. And we started moving things, adjusting weights. And it was actually, I don't know for you, but for me, it was like, I felt like it was a little chaotic for you for like 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden it dialed in.
yeah,
And you were monitoring your biorhythms, your metrics and stuff. And we noticed some like concerning trends. And then just the week leading up to this, we were like, all right, or the week and a half, 10 days leading into this race, it was okay, let's focus on you feeling the best at the start of the race. Forget about like where your fitness is. Let's just make you feel the best you can feel. And do you feel good?
definitely. Yeah, I st- yeah, the feeling that I thought how I felt last night um, is how I felt like in the Cologne race, the last chance qualifier last year, where I was um, I was like um, I was warming into the race, and all of a sudden, from the burpees onwards, I was in attack mode, a aggressive attack mode. Um, and yeah, like the feeling of last night compared to how I felt, well, even in Vegas 6 weeks ago was chalk and cheese, right? Um, and again, for the listeners, I want to clarify a few things just for your own perspective. I had, as Anthony just said, a 2 week period in which I had a workout. Actually, I remember that it was um, a half a half HYROX where um, I wanted to really test my pacing, doing the first half of HYROX plus a fifth run, and I did not complete it. I was not able to complete it due to what was happening with my body, and whether it was a central nervous system thing to do with my travels to America and back, or whether or not I actually got sick without knowing it. But I did not complete a really important workout about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
And
and it was
after
so
that,
it wasn't the
I,
half high rocks, it was the interval high rocks, right?
it was the interval HYROX,
The
sorry.
interval
Yes,
one.
yeah,
Yeah, you got like
yeah,
two stations in, but it was no sled interval. Yeah. You got like two stations in and then stopped.
yeah. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, guys, is because not not every day and not every workout needs to be good and shouldn't be good, and that's okay. And it's about adapting on the fly, and having someone in your corner, by the way, to talk to. Um, try to give as much feedback as possible, and that's what we did, and um, adapted my process and last 2 to 3 weeks leading into last night, the race, and consequently, like, look what happened. I'm sure most of you guys have had workouts like that where it doesn't go to plan, but that's okay. So anyway, yeah, look, actually, Anthony, sorry to kind of just go off topic, but on topic. I want to ask you, I'm sure you have done the research already knowing you, but what was the running splits like last night for myself and also across the field?
So I do have the splits for the running for you guys, and they were quick. We can go. Do you want to do this, or do you want to do the course map first?
Well, yeah, do the course map so we understand you know how it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just for you guys that are on YouTube or watching on Spotify, I'm sharing my screen. I'm gonna walk through it and talk through it. So this is the Scottish Event Campus that I have up on screen here. This is the layout of the Scottish Event Campus and what the whole venue looked like. So you got the OVO Hydro, the SEC Armadillo, the Crown Plaza Hotel, and then here is Hall 3, and here is Hall 4. These two halls, so this is where the HYROX was taking place. And if you are watching, the run was actually happening on the first half of this Hall 4, and then all the stations were happening in Hall 3, and then they did the farmer carry around the perimeter here of Hall 3. Now, this little table over here is all the dimensions and the capacities of these halls. So, just going to read it off. Hall number 3 is 82.1 meters. So in this direction on the screen, that is the up down or north south dimension, it is 82.1 meters. And then it is 59.7 meters wide with this like bathroom cutout here. Okay. Then it is also hall number 4 is 115.4 meters long in the east-west direction here, and which is the same widths, right? So just over 80 meters this way, just like the other hall. So this was the location of it. Now, if we go over to, whoops, where is it at? Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to find the other page that I have. It doesn't look like it's up. So that's fine. This is the HYROX Glasgow. This was the elite layout, right? So you can see this WC stands for wash closet. Here's the wash closet. So those are the bathrooms. And then here's this center in the middle right here. What I did is I overlaid this map on top of the layout of the Scottish Event Center. Okay. So I overlaid the map and oh, that's my snippet. So it's just right here, right? Um, Not exactly to scale, but I wrote the dimensions in. So 59.7 meters is hall 3, 82.1 meters is the width of the hall, and then this is 115.4. Overlaid the map on the hall, uh, lined up the bathrooms and the centerpiece so that you could see where the ins and outs were. So this is where they started. They ran, and then they hit this first in, and then that was one, and then they did their normal 4 laps. So the total of each of the runs, this is based on the racing line as well, not on just direct dimension. So instead of taking 82 meters, I actually made it 80 meters because they were running about 5 feet. They were running about 5 feet off, so it might be a meter off, but uh, could be negligible. But you're not running right up against the inside rail here. So we're looking at racing line in terms of how the course was set up. So each lap, if this is 80 meters long here, this is 40 meters right here. This was about 10 to get to this loop. And then, what was it, 10? Yeah, something like that. And then this was a short one. And then again, another 10 and another loop. So it turns out each lap, when measured, is 260 meters. Uh, so you guys ran
Yep.
4 laps. So runs number 2 through 8. Um, I mean, we can count these turns right here, but you guys kind of like took the shortest line, the racing line. But if we count turns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 turns, 8 90-degree turns every single lap, which means 32 turns every single lap. Uh, each lap was 260 meters. You had
Yeah.
4 laps, so 1,040 meters per lap. Now, you guys had a very reduced rock zone. Um, so, in terms of how this was calculated, this first lap actually added 140 meters. That's what this little tail is that comes all the way up to the inn. So if you start there, so it adds 140 meters to your guys' lap. So your first lap was 1180, and then all the other laps were 1040. And that total equals 8,460 meters. And you can say, oh, but it's supposed to be 8,700 for a normal course. Well, if you add up, and I did it down here, so the distance, and so I measured the distance from the in arch here to the station where the timing mat was. Zone 1 was 10 meters. Zone 2 was 30 meters because you had to run all the way down. Zone 3 was 30 meters. Zone 4 was 30 meters. Zone 5 was 10 meters. Zone 6 was 5 meters. So that's the farmer carry. You guys went in and it was right there. Zone 7 was 30 meters. Zone 8 was 100 meters. So you guys ran in and you guys had to do that long run all the way around until you got over here to the wall balls and then you started wall balling. So 100 meters. So the total rock zone inside this Hall 3 was actually 245 meters added to the 8460 from before. So your total distance ran was 8705. So in terms of distance of the course, it was right.
There you go. There you go.
Um, we also went back and
And
counted
just on that,
counted the number
listener,
of grid
Anthony
lines.
has
Yeah, go ahead.
Anthony has got that. Uh, Anthony has got that to a T. Which is like, I'm just like, I always like smirk when I get information like this from Anthony because I'm not surprised that he's just done this himself. I got confirmation last night after the race that it was just over 8,700 meters. And I got confirmation from the race director himself. And of course, it depends on how you run it, of course. But the course was a HYROX race in terms of how much. Sorry, it was 8,700 meters and 8,705 meters, as you said, Anthony. Um, so yeah, so
And
um,
I don't know what the difference was, why it
it was
was
great. Yeah.
so like was it could it possibly like I mean, if you look at it, the runs we'll get to in just a second, they were faster than Vegas. Um, Not faster in the sense of just the running portion alone. So if you take the running portion only from Las Vegas, where everybody ran on the outside, Vegas was faster. But if you add the rock zone to the run, which I did here as well because they didn't exclude a rock zone in this one. If you add the rock zone to the run, then yes, this is faster by about a minute 40 for almost every single person. And so that minute
Yeah,
40,
right.
though, that minute 40 of rock zone time, that, you know, over 8 stations, you're looking at like 12 seconds a station, basically, or 12 seconds per rock zone. Is that just like the number of 180s, maybe a little extra long in Las Vegas is all it was? In terms of the total running, you're looking at a minute 40 difference in most of the runs, but Vegas had 4+ minutes for everybody's rock zone. And all the total run plus rock zone times between Las Vegas and Glasgow are, like I said, they're only about a minute 40 to 2 minutes off. So just looking at this as well, though, this course, you go through this course, if you have 32 turns in a 4 lap course, 32 90-degree turns, and you do that 7 times, and then you add in there's 48 90-degree turns in the first lap or the first run. So 270, 200, and I think I had that
Wow.
different actually, but I think it was like 248. I think I got my 48s mixed up, but 248 90-degree turns was in this course.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just so curious why like times looked faster, times moved faster, and you know what? Maybe it was those women at the front in the first race. They were pushing each other. Like
They
maybe
were,
that's
weren't
just it. Just made a race, having two people
they? Yeah.
racing the entire time. It's it's the best HYROX race I've watched. Like
Yeah.
it there,
Yeah.
it was amazing. Uh,
Yeah.
it's
Now,
you've never seen. Never, men or women. I don't think we've ever seen a HYROX race where from the gun, two people race each other and one of them doesn't break away and is able to cruise. Like, yeah, I
yeah.
I loved watching it. It was very nerve-wracking. I should say in the moment, I prefer watching Lauren win by multiple minutes because it's relaxing. Uh, so
Mm.
watching an actual race, like my I get on the screen, I'm like, come on, like yelling at the screen, but otherwise, uh, it's it's great to watch, and I'm sure the fans like seeing a neck and neck race.
Yeah, definitely.
And on yours, I
So
mean, you did,
on
yeah.
on that, Anthony, right? And for the listeners, just to get to know me a little bit more, I always want to know the first thing I want to know with respect to my splits is how I ran compared to the field. And Anthony knows that. Like I just want to know how I ran. Um, what was the total run time for, let's just say, well, for both the women and male, if that's okay. I'm sure you've got that, do you,
So
Anthony?
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go like specifics, so people can look up their own.
No, no, no.
But for the most part, I'll just say you overall, men or women, you had the fastest run split.
Yeah.
You were the only person sub 30 minutes.
Okay.
Um, and you were flying, right? That would be equivalent to your run plus rock zone from Vegas, where you were 2 minutes and 28 seconds faster than you were in Las Vegas. Um, Now you were actually one of the few people that was like greater than 2 minutes faster total. But if you look at just your run from Vegas, you were a minute and a half slower, and it's all like the rock zone
Mm.
difference. In the Vegas rock zone, if you remember, that was like 13 180-degree turns, like really sharp ones, and it was warmer in that venue, as well as
Yeah, it was
I just think the rock zone was longer there.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. Um, One thing that Anthony, I did tell you this before the race. I did differently last night. Was I decided to take my nutrition, my um, during race carbohydrate mix nice and early. And I haven't told you this, Anthony, yet, but I decided to take my first. I had two water bottles, both water bottles filled with 30 grams of carbs each. And I took the first one at during run three. Um, I don't think I got all the 30, all the liquid actually. I probably got three quarters of it. And then I ended up having my second one during run five before the rower. Now, to me, I executed that perfectly because I felt like I needed to make sure that I was topping up my energy levels sooner rather than later. Because if you do it too late, there's no point then, right? And that's just um, a simple strategy that I used last night on purpose to allow myself to try to feel as good as possible for the back end of the race.
It's good. What carb mix are you using?
The Morton Drink One, I think it's called Drink 160 mix, which is purely a carbohydrate mix. And I love the Morton mix. It's for me personally, I just um, they feel really good in my tummy, I guess. Like I can actually consume it quite well whilst exerting, whilst training. And I've obviously been getting them off the feed, the feed.com, and they stock all things Morton. So if you go have a look at the feed, you can have a look at the Morton brand, which Anthony, would you say Morton is probably one of the most I guess, known supplement brands on the endurance running?
I mean, you guys don't have to be that exact brand. You can go on the feed and find a bunch that are like similar or equivalent. Um, I do know that people have different
Yeah.
tastes and they prefer different ones. Specifically, it's not just the how it tastes, but the texture and the consistency of it
Oh,
and
you there?
how it's able to go down. So that's pretty important. And because like if you can't palate something in the middle of a race, you're just gonna make yourself gag, and you don't want to do that.
No, not at all.
So
Um, so yeah,
yeah,
I thought that. So yeah,
cool. Back to the running really fast. Yeah, I was very impressed by your running, JK. You ran an awesome race, super well executed. The game plan going in, actually, I told JK this is I actually told JK I don't want you leading until the lunges. Don't take the lead until the lunges. But at the same time, it was uh, don't don't sit back just to sit back. Like if they're gonna give it to you, take it, but don't force yourself into the lead until the lunges. And man, you took it in the burpees and just never looked back.
yeah, yeah. And I'll tell you something, Anthony. I looked over to my right. Yeah, it was my right when I ended up taking the lead from Tim and then from Hunter. and a voice came into my head saying, "Ha ha, Anthony. Um, I've, I've, I pretty much said to myself, I've, I've taken this earlier than expected, Anthony. Haha."
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like there and then I knew I was going to win, but I just thought to myself, all right, like I'm on one tonight. I'm feeling really good. Anthony didn't think that I was going to take it until the lunges, but I proved him wrong.
Did did you talk to Georgie already? I'm sure you did.
I sure have, yeah, yeah.
She she texted me early on in the race and was like, "He's feeling good." And I text her back after the burpees and I was like, "Okay, he won." Like I was like, he passed. Because I knew that if you took the lead that early, you weren't going to let it go because you knew that wasn't what was supposed to happen or what we had thought was going to happen. Um, and so I knew as soon as you took that, I was like, oh, he's not going to let it go because he knows I'm going to say something to him afterwards if he lets it go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so
But
no, man, you
also,
did you did just
I've got,
fantastic. Like, all your runs, you were on point. You were moving really well. Um, yeah, just super good. You were right there. 7/10 of a second from the world record. That would have been so exciting. I'm over the moon. You and Lauren both won first places, world record, and then second fastest time ever. Just like you crushed it, dude.
thanks, man. I think from for the listeners, I've had a few messages asking, "Did you know that you were on world record pace or anything like that?" And the truth about that is no, I wasn't. It was clear to me running into the Warballs due to the MC Faisal who announced that um, he could be on world record pace here. And that was the first time I was like, okay. But to me, and I said this, I think I said this in the interview last night that world record wasn't my goal last night, and um, my goal was to win and to execute my race plan, and that's what I'm proud about. I think in a few days' time it'll sink in that I was 1 second away. Yeah, sure, but I'm not here to necessarily care about breaking records. They will come if they come. You know what I mean there? And um, yeah, the beauty of the sport is the moments that you believe that you're capable in. And that's what I did last night. And, you know, I've got to give kudos to um, Tim Vinish once again, who proved to us that he is he is on fire this season. Um, right from the get go, he was the man to chase down, and he's going to be a force come Worlds. And I've got
I,
to give a big shout out to our boy Bo Wills as well, who Anthony, like even you said the other day that I've got a very strong back end of the race, but if anyone else does as well, it's definitely Bo. I love how he races because he races within himself until the timing's right, and he executed perfectly as well. And finally, my man Jake Dearden, who really earned his spot last night. He has, as obviously most probably will be aware that Jake is a professional. He takes himself very seriously, and he takes his craft very seriously, and he definitely earned his spot last night. And
Yeah.
I'm super excited for him, and also super excited for the next couple of days with him in Houston.
Yeah. I want to throw this out. I'm going to at the same time pat myself on the back because I was very close. It literally my whole bracket of who I chose to qualify and podium was broken by one person, and that's Rich Ryan. He got in there. You know, the Americans haven't raced particularly well in Europe or the UK, but he disproved that. You know, going up and getting a podium too. Not even like just sneaking in. He got third. Had a great race. My podium, I said J.K., Bo, and Tim, and Bo ends up fourth, 8 seconds behind Rich off the podium. Um, and then I thought the qualifiers were going to be John Wynn, Jake Dearden, and Thomas Turdvik. Um, Rich jumps in there, takes that first spot.
Yeah.
Uh, Jake Dearden gets that second one, and Tomas was the one that was jumping over the line with Sean Noble, which great job to Sean. Can't believe he pulled that off. Like just absolutely astounding. Congratulations. If you go look at the timing chips, I think it's 300ths of a second.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
that's faster than you could tap a stopwatch. Double tap a stopwatch, it's like a tenth of a second. So 300ths of a
Yeah.
second. Um, just amazing job back and forth, both those guys fighting. So, I mean, literally the difference could have been where they started and who's which ankle their timing chip was on and who stepped over the line before the other person at the start of the race. That literally could have been the difference. Um, but
Yeah.
Thomas, yeah, he just misses out so close. Um, and then yeah, Sean gets the other spot. Jake, excited for him. I was pretty sure he was gonna get it. Felt bad for John Wynn, pulled out of the race. I guess he was sick, but he gets almost a home race with it being in Barcelona for the last chance qualifier. So good luck to him. And then Jake Dearden and you get a race Elite 15 doubles this weekend. So
Hey, hey, coach, I'm so to get it done.
what's that? You cut out there a lot. So maybe not to the listener, but I'll listen back to this. But to me, I didn't hear what you said. You were all robot voice and then sped up.
I just said so sorry to butt in, but I'm to the listeners. I'm talking to my coach here, but my coach has programmed me a shakeout run this morning that I got to get done before my flight to Houston. So
Oh yeah.
I apologize, but I have to love you and leave you all. So thank you, Anthony, and thank you, listeners, once again.
Yep. JK, let them know where you can find where they can find you. Sorry guys to cut this short. We will have another one this week.
Please, yeah, please, if you have any questions or would love to chat, JK James Kelly on Instagram.
You can find me at a wild Parasini on Instagram or the hybrid engine on Instagram. Also, if you want to check out something really cool, we just launched it after this. Lauren Weeks, my wife, she has a YouTube channel now. Go check out her first video. We'll have a couple other videos dropping every about 3 days this week, and then it should be a weekly post. So go ahead, check it out, subscribe, like it, let us know it's something you want us to continue. Um, and you can also check out the Hybrid Coaching Podcast on YouTube as well while you're there. All right, guys, thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. If you'd like to get in contact with James Kelly to seek out some coaching or for general questions and inquiries, please go to Instagram and find him at jk.jameskelly.
Or you can find him and Georgie Vesley on YouTube at James Kelly and Georgie Vesley. If you'd like to contact Anthony or seek out programming or coaching questions from the Hybrid Engine, please go to Instagram at the Hybrid Engine or at a Wild Parasini. Thank you again. Have a great day.